Hi everyone, my name is Robert, and I decided to do a little bit of a series here on the Suzuki. This is an 85. It's a 85 lt230ge. You might find them denoted as an E or as a G, but the GE is the true designation when you're looking for parts for him. Parts are difficult to find. I can't find new shocks anywhere, but that's okay. I've got a buddy of mine that's going to help me tear them down and rebuild them with some new seals and get them working again. A big problem with the 230Es is in the ignition switch, which is why this one didn't start when I bought it. I got a really good deal on it. The guy was just, he was at a point where he was done messing with it. And the ignition is a huge deal on them. So typically what happens, all these have been heat shrunk. They're not just soldered there together, but the ignition is a huge deal on these. And typically when the ignition goes, people tend to just either put like basic ignitions that really don't wire into the bike well, or they just put switches where the ignition used to be, and that takes the place of the actual key. But I wanted to retain all that. I ended up buying this ignition online on Amazon, actually, for like $9.50. This unscrews here, and it actually goes up under the dash, so it'll act like factory, but it'll be a new cord. What we did have to do, we had to unpin. The good news is what we bought, all the pins matched, but we did have to unpin the previous harness and solder into, we had to unpin the original harness for that was a 4-prong or a 4-pin, and we unpinned it, and it had 4, and then it had this last yellow wire on it. And what we did was we just cut the old harness and soldered it on, and then heat shrunk that old connector onto the new key. So it worked well. The one that I bought, all the colors happened to match up except for the yellow and black. The colors were reversed. It was black and yellow versus yellow and black. And the notion there is there's more black than yellow, and here there's more yellow than black. And that's just one of the things. But typically on these 85s, the ignition is always what goes, and that will always cause the bikes not to run. Yeah, you might eventually run into car problems and things like that. You might have problems with the CDI box or the rectifier here. I know I couldn't get my rectifier off. I actually had to cut this wire here. It's not soldered. I'm going to end up putting a nipple joint or whatever type of joint this is. I don't know exactly what it's called, but that's the joint I'm going to put on it. And mostly that's just because I don't have a torque screwdriver. I will eventually get a torque screwdriver and pull that off and solder it into one joint. But the bike is going to be taken down. You see the gas tank, it's pulled off. What I found is if you pull anything off, just put the bolts back where you got them. The previous owner has a little jar over there, you see. He had some bolts. I have no idea where they go yet because I haven't gotten that far. I do have body and everything like that. It's in decent shape. I've been hitting it with a heat gun. You can see this is what the original body looks like before heat gun, and then this is what it looks like after the heat gun. The heat gun just kind of pulls a little bit of, to be honest, I don't know exactly what it does, but it certainly brings the color back out of it and makes this look a lot better. My body does have some cracks. I'm going to get these plastic welded from the back side, and then of course the crack will still be visible on the front side, but they'll be solid from the back. So that's important. And the whole reason I bought this bike, just a backstory, I grew up on the lt230ge. It was originally bought for my aunt, and she loved it, and our whole family used it, through to 2005 really. And we ended up getting rid of the original bike that we had, and this one came up on Craigslist for what I would consider a steal. And I bought it, and my wife is pregnant, and I wanted to have the opportunity to teach my son how to ride a quad on the same bike that I grew up on. If you look at the tires, I mean, we've still got decent nubs on the tires. There's even still mold rubber on the tires. But I do plan on everything now that it's running. It wasn't running when I first got it because of the electrical. And let me just show you that real quick. This was the original ignition, and it was pulled off. And these, I'm not 100% certain what these are. There's some type of relay or something like that. They were put on, and then the new ignition switch was just wired with these 3 wires, but it didn't work at all. And that's why the guy ended up getting rid of it, because he was, just kind of at his wit's end with it. But you notice I have this tire off and this tire off. Well, that's strategic, the weight, just because I've got what I've got this thing sitting on. But the bike doesn't weigh anything. But everything's going to come off of it now that it runs. The engine's being pulled off. All this is going to be sandblasted. This is going to be sandblasted. If there's any holes in it, they're going to be filled. And the ultimate goal is, I don't expect anything to ever get to 100% factory on this thing, but I would like to see about 80 to 90%. Like I say, the shocks will be rebuilt. All the arms are going to be pulled off. All the bolts will be blasted, so they'll look new when they're done. I can still find these ball joints. I can still find those, so all those will be replaced. I've checked this bearing, no wobble on this bearing. Check this bearing, no wobble on this bearing. But if we come back here on this back bearing, you can see we've got a wobble there. So this pulls off. Obviously, I'm not going to pull it off now, but it will pull off, and I'm going to replace the bearings on both sides of the back end. And then eventually, if I need to, I'll replace them on the front end, but we don't need that yet. But yeah, I look forward to working on this project with you guys. Historically, I've done some gaming stuff and just some random stuff on my channel, but now I want to do some stuff that's maybe informative to some people out there that's got a lt230ge or an lt230. It actually pertains to more models than this. The GE is a designation for the electric start here. The electric start is one of the major signifiers. That and the shaft drive. Those are 2 major things. So keep an eye out. If you want to follow this channel, you want to follow what I'm doing with the bike. I really don't have any other plans for the channel other than rebuilding this. And like I say, really the main reason I got it is because we're about to have a son, and I just think it's an amazing opportunity to raise him on the same bike that I grew up on. So thanks for taking a look at the video. Once again, this is an 85 lt230ge, and I hope to see you soon. This little vacuum fuel pump is going to be replaced with an electronic fuel pump, and that will probably be the next stage that you guys see the bike. So thanks for taking a look, and I will see you guys later.